I am surrounded by books right now. Hey everybody, it's Joan, and today I am going to be listing out my, hopefully, TBR list for 2022. That's what the year is, it's 2022. So, one of my friends, Author Anne Sophie, did a video where she created a 12 books for 2022 like reading thing, like a reading challenge. A readathon. It's called a readathon. So there are 12 prompts for the year, and you have to find a book that fits into each of the prompts and read essentially one a month. And I think the way she has it is that you're supposed to like read prompt 1 in January, prompt 2 February. I'm not going to do that. That's too much structure for me. So what instead I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of like rearrange them. I'm gonna have my books. They're all sitting right here. See, they're all right there. So I'll have the books that I know I want to read this year, along with all the other books I want to read this year, because there's a lot of books I want to read this year. So I will still be doing one a month, but I am going to mix up the months because the first one is a first book in a new series, and I don't want to start a new series and then not be able to read any of the rest of the series until like the end of the year. So I'm going to change up the months, and so like the first book in the new series is probably going to be like December instead of January. But that's what I'm doing. That's how it's going to work for me. I will leave Anne's video posted down in the description, both where she explains the readathon and the one where she tells the books that she will be reading. And I'm really excited because I want to read more this year. I always say I want to read 12 books a year, and if I could read more than 12, that would be great. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the prompts and the video. So prompt number 1 is a first book in a new series. And for me, this is probably going to be in December just because it's the new series and I don't want to start a new series and then not read the rest of the series like right after. Like I want to read the series as it is. So the book for the first prompt is Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. I picked this up at a dollar bookstore because I've been wanting to restart the series at least. I'm going to attempt to read this. It is a very long, hefty book. We'll see what happens, but this is book for prompt number 1. Prompt number 2 is a last book to finish a series, and this is actually going to be my January read, because it is Forever and Ever by Trinity Lem. It is the 3rd book in her Forever trilogy, and I read the first 2, so this is the 3rd one, so it makes sense. I'm starting the year by wrapping up an old series, and I will end the year by starting a new one. That's just how it's gonna work. So I'm really excited for this one as well. I am currently already reading a book, so this is gonna be my next read for January. I should be able to start on it soon. And once I got into the first 2 books, I breezed through them in like 3 days, so we got our January read. Prompt number 3 is a book by a new to you author. So this is my book for prompt number 3. It is by Sarah Dessen. I do not believe I have read any of her books. I have a lot of books on my shelf that are by new authors that I haven't read before, so this is just the one that I picked out today. It might be a different book. We'll find out at the end of the year when I do like a wrap-up video and look back on this and be like, what did I actually read? And hopefully I'll have read more than like 3 books. That's the goal. More than 3. So this is the book by a new to me author. Prompt number 4 is a book by your favorite author. And my favorite author is Margaret Peterson Haddix. And all of these books are the books that are on my physical TBR. They're all books that I have physically that I want to read. So there's a lot of books of hers that I haven't read yet, but the one that I have on my shelf is Revealed. It is the 7th book in the Missing series, and there are 8 books in this series, so I'm probably going to grab the 8th one from the library. I did originally want to go back and reread the entire series before I got to this book, just so I knew what had happened. But the books can also kind of stand alone, but also not. So I'm going to go ahead and read this one, and then once I get the 8th one, I'll read the 8th one, and I might reread the entire series at one point just because I love her books so much, and I also love this series a lot as well. And I started reading this series in like 3rd grade, so it's been a long time coming. Prompt number 5 is a genre that you haven't read much. And for me, that's basically anything nonfiction. I don't read a lot of nonfiction, so I am challenging myself this year to at least read 1 nonfiction book. So my book for prompt number 5 is Sick Girl by Amy Silverstein, and it's just one of the few nonfiction books that I have on my shelves. I'm also currently reading a nonfiction book, but I also feel like I want to make my way through my physical TBR, so all 12 of these books are from my physical TBR. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have made a good dent on that physical TBR. Prompt number 6 is your favorite genre. So for those of you who don't know, the genre I write most in, and my probably favorite genre, is young adult contemporary fiction, and I am breaking into adult contemporary fiction where romance is not the main plot, because like adult romance it has stuff in there that I don't want to read. So I'm just going to say that my favorite genre is contemporary fiction, and my book for my contemporary fiction is My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult. It's been a movie that I've been like wanting to see, but I also realized it's a book, so now I want to read the book first. And this is probably going to take an entire month to read because it is so long. It is over 100,000 words, and the last one that I read of hers took me a long time to get through. So I don't know if this one's going to go a little bit quicker or if it's going to be about the same, but this is my book for prompt number 6. Prompt number 7, a book that has been on your TBR forever. There's a lot of those. A lot of the books on my physical TBR are, well, now they're books that I got from the dollar bookstore, but they're also books that I've had since like middle school and before middle school. And honestly, half the time, I don't know how they got there. I think most of the time my mom finished a book and she's like, here you go, have a book. I'm like, okay, thanks. And it just goes on my bookshelf. So my book for prompt number 7 is, I can't read through the back of books. So my book for prompt number 7 is The Book of Tomorrow. This seems really interesting, and it also has a very pretty cover. Like, I am in love with this cover. It is very, very pretty. So this is my book for prompt number 7. It is, I don't know where the book came from, but it's been on my shelf forever and I really want to read it because it sounds pretty interesting. Prompt number 8 is a new addition to your shelf. And this is one of my newer additions to my shelf. My newest addition to my shelf is The Forever and Ever by Trinity Lem. One of the next newest books on my shelf is The One Who Knows Me by Joan Mbola. And it is a self-published book. I've been meaning to read it for a little while now. Again, I just haven't had time. I've been busy reading other books, so I'm going to put this on my TBR for 2022. Prompt number 9 is a short read. And I don't really know if this would be considered a short read, but it's like one of the shortest reads on my physical TBR. And it's also one of those books that's been on my TBR forever. I think this one I got passed down from a sibling, but it is The Outsiders. And it's like one of those books that you're supposed to have read in high school that I didn't read in high school. We weren't even prompted to read this in high school. So I want to read this book this year. One, basically just to get it off my physical TBR. I want it to move shelves. I want it to move from my TBR shelf to my read shelf, because I have 2 different bookshelves for books that I have read and books that I have not read. Doesn't everyone? Prompt number 10. I'm gonna run out of fingers. Book number 10 is a long read, and this goes with the first prompt. So the first prompt was a first book in a new series, which was Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. And prompt number 10 is a long read, and it is The Lost Symbol, which is the next book in the series. So this will actually be my December book, as long as that's my November book. But yeah, this is a big book. This is very big. I'm actually really curious to see what the word count in it. Oh my. That's a big word count. The average reader will spend 10 hours and 39 minutes reading. Based on the page count, there are 159,000 words. And a lot. This is a big book. I'll start it probably in December, as long as I finish Angels and Demons, but I don't know if I'm gonna finish it. This is big. This is very big. Prompt number 11 is a reread from your childhood. And this book is just going to be a quick short read for me, but it's like one of my favorite books from my childhood. It is It's Not the End of the World by Judy Blume. And when I say I write young adult contemporary books without romance, I basically mean that I write Judy Blume, but like for high schoolers, or John Green without the romance. That's how I've kind of explained myself in the past. It's Not the End of the World and Just As Long as We're Together are like 2 of my favorite books, and there's a special place in my heart for books that deal so much with like friendship and family relationships, and it's just so special to me. So this is going to be the reread from my childhood, and I'm really interested just to kind of like read it again and kind of pick up on things that I might not have picked up on before. And then prompt number 12, the last prompt, is an indie book of your choice. And again, I'm just going based on books that I have on my physical TBR. There are so many other books that I will want to read this year and that I probably will hopefully read this year. But the indie book of my choice for this year is If I Could See the Stars. And again, it's a book I already have. It's an indie book, and I've been meaning to read it for the past like 2 or 3 months. So this is book number 12. And again, I'm not going to be reading them in this order because it doesn't work with my brain. I'll be reading them in the order I want to read them. So those are all 12 books that I want to read this year. I'm probably going to read some other books as well. I'm already reading a different book right now. I have a bunch of other books I want to read this year. But those are the 12 that I want to get through, and that's going to make a huge dent in my physical TBR because I've been meaning to get to that thing forever. So this will at least help me jumpstart that. I will leave Anne's links down in the description below, as she is the one who started this readathon and created the prompts and everything, and maybe we'll have something similar for 2023, which is like a year away. Fingers crossed. But that is all I have for today's video, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys all hopefully next week. Bye! Let's see if I can stack one more book. This is really heavy on like 3 fingers. No, no.